My group and I represent Pandora's internal marketing team, and we're really excited to be here with you today. How many of you were here last Monday when we gave out that survey? Like, raise your hands, actually. I want to see. Okay, all right. Well, we actually used the data we collected from those, and we discovered something amazing. You guys love Pandora. 61% of you prefer Pandora over any other music streaming service, and another 19% of you use it in addition to another service. That means that 80% of the people in this room use Pandora. This is reflected nationally, as 70% of Americans who use a music streaming service also prefer Pandora. What makes it so popular? Pandora uses the Music Genome Project to categorize all of their songs. This means that each and every song is analyzed by a professional music analyst. This is why when you're on Pandora, your stations flow so well, because humans actually took part in putting them together. Many other music streaming companies don't use the Music Genome Project. Instead, they use algorithms that don't produce such high quality results. Accessibility is another one of Pandora's strong suits. If you haven't noticed, Pandora is available on a wide variety of devices, from your computers and mobile devices to your smart TVs, your video gaming consoles, and even in some of your cars. Of course, where there are strengths, weaknesses have to follow. Right now, Pandora's biggest challenges come from their external competition, but also from their own internal cost structure. A whopping 87% of Pandora's total revenue comes from advertising, which is proving to be an issue as Pandora users are switching from computer to mobile listening. Because mobile advertising is still in its infancy, many organizations have not yet been aware of its value, and they're not choosing to invest in that area. Unfortunately, Pandora is relying heavily on that income to pay for their royalties, which account for 52% of their total revenue. We learned earlier that 70% of the streaming audience is held by Pandora, but this is steadily declining as Pandora's competitors become more popular. Not only is Pandora competing with similar free radio streaming services like Last.fm, iHeartRadio, and iTunes Radio, but they also face challenges like Google Play and Spotify that grant users access to huge streaming libraries. Because of the high cost of royalties, Pandora is limited to a small selection. Luckily, size doesn't matter to 80% of you as long as you have some music to listen to. Before you as the listener hear that music though, there are several other hands that it has to go through. Obviously, musicians have to write music before you can hear it. The songs are then recorded in the studio. An agent presents the songs to a label who decides whether or not they'd like to accept them. Pandora must pay the label to have the rights to play those songs, and only after all of that has been accomplished can you as the listener hear what you hear when you listen to your Pandora stations. Sometimes the music can get stuck between the label and Pandora because record companies aren't obligated to allow Pandora to pay for the rights to use all their music. They can be really tough negotiators, actually. And they're not the only ones making life hard for Pandora. Manufacturers used to be really happy to pre-install Pandora on their TVs and in their cars, but they're increasingly losing hope in Pandora's value. Competitors, on the other hand, are gaining favor with manufacturers, advertising organizations, and consumers. Now, we know that this is partially because advertisers and manufacturers are losing sight of Pandora's value, but what does that mean about listeners? Well, according to the survey results from this class, at least the Pandora listeners in here haven't lost sight of its value. Most of you guys said you love Pandora because you already know how to use it, so it's convenient, and because it offers a high-quality music and streaming service. This is really good news for right now. As for Pandora's future, it's still up in the air. With its value in question, competition growing fierce, and advertising revenue decreasing, Pandora risks not only losing its hold on the streaming market, but also hope of making a profit. Very soon, legislation that would decrease the price of royalties will be up for discussion, and Pandora is lobbying for this to pass as if its future depends on it, which it very well might. Lower royalty costs would be great for tons of reasons, but since Pandora has to wait on that, we've come up with a few options that can help keep the company afloat in the meantime. We do want to note that these are high-risk situations. So first we considered the creation or acquisition of a record label. This would save the company money on royalties, expand the artist selection, and produce a great opportunity that Pandora could connect with the local markets. Then we thought about creating a streaming library from Pandora's current database, which would allow users to play what they want, when they want. Our best idea was actually found as we were figuring out how to implement this strategy. We actually think Pandora should partner up with one of its competitors. Why? Because it would be good for both companies, especially if that company was Google. How many of you guys have heard of Google Play? By show of hands. Anybody? A couple of you guys? Well, don't feel bad if you heard me mention it earlier and had no idea what I was talking about, because I only heard of it just recently. If you don't know, Google Play is basically your central hub for all things entertainment. I really wish I could tell you more, but I don't have a lot of time, so just know that Play offers a streaming service that allows users to discover, play, store, and share music easily. If you're thinking to yourself, well, obviously this would be an awesome deal for Pandora, but why would people be interested? That's a really good question. Pandora's popularity would be really great for the less-known Google Play. Pandora listeners love that they already know how to operate the system, so they would be more likely to continue using Pandora through Play than to switch to another service. Now, obviously Play would gain exposure over time, but partnering up with Pandora would greatly expedite this process. And do you remember earlier when I was talking about Pandora's diminishing perceived value? Well, Google doesn't have this problem, so for Pandora to be able to reestablish its value through Google would be a great step in the right direction. It may even be more important than adding an on-demand streaming option and lowering the cost of royalties. If manufacturers and advertisers don't rediscover Pandora's value, it really won't be long until the company is crushed by its up-and-coming competition. Pandora is being faced with some incredibly challenging issues, but there is hope. So don't lose faith in the radio that you love. Share it even, maybe with a